Howdy everybody, it's Amy here from Amy's Sparkly Diamond Painting. I had to take a couple days break, wasn't feeling that good and having a lot of trouble with my hand. I will probably try to go back to the clinic next week to see what we can do. But I wanted to do a video that I promised for a while but just haven't gotten to. And that is my August finishes, WIPs, all that good stuff. And because my diamond painting was somewhat limited due to vacation and other things, I'm going to go ahead and do this as a diamond painting and then cross-stitch WIPs. So it's going to be a little bit of a WIP parade on the cross-stitch side because I'm going to show things I've been working on in the last couple of months because progress is slower on that, and I never did get my full stamped WIP parade done because it was just overwhelming on how I was trying to do it, and I didn't like the first run, so I deleted that video. But what I may do is throughout maybe the next month or two do a video by brand, and that may make it a little bit easier because I find myself trying to explain too much and then the video gets too long. So I'm going to break those up, and they're still coming, but I thought I would do part 2 of this video as a cross-stitch, what I've been working on for the last couple months, and that's kind of a partial WIP parade. There are some things you haven't seen in there. So if you are one of my cross-stitch viewers, hang tight. The diamond painting part isn't too long, but I will start there. And we're going to show what I completed, which you've already seen this a couple times, so I'm not going to talk too much about this one. I have other videos I can link to related to this one. But we'll just jump through the few that I got done and then the WIPs that I'm working on, because that's really where most of the work was done. Because if you remember from my July end of the month update, this one was pretty close to being finished. So I think you're probably a little tired of seeing this one. But I thought I'd give you one more view of it before it gets hidden away. So there we go. And this is Moon Goddess from Diamond Art Club. And this is the one that I blinged up quite a bit. So check out my review video on this one if you want to learn more about this one and how I blinged it up and all that. But I do really like the end results here. I think she is beautiful. So that is our big finish for the month. I will roll this one up and reveal the ones behind it. So if you saw my Artdot video, and by the way, I do keep a chair beside me. That's how I find room for all this stuff so I can keep going. So I'll do these last. But you may have also seen this one before because I did show it on my Artdot unboxing of the new set, which, by the way, if you haven't heard yet, they are printing some more. They sold out much faster than expected. But this was from their first set of 12, the Zoe Lee set, and this one is called Magical Farmland. So I think my favorite part of this one was the sky. There, beautiful clouds, but also all the shimmer in there. There's a lot of AB drills there in the sky, so it's probably not coming across on camera as well as it does in real life, but there's a lot of sparkle all through here with the yellows as well as the blues, so they were not shy on the amount of ABs on this one. So really cool. I thought it was interesting. These are stars, but they kind of came out looking like little crosses there, but they are just stars kind of with the long extension there. But it's hard to make a star on a grid, just like it's really hard to make a snowflake. I've tried. You have to get pretty big to get a snowflake because snowflakes are 6-pointed, and so they're more of a hexagonal type shape, and that's hard to do on squares. So try it out once, see what you can do. Most kits or patterns that are cross-stitch that show snowflakes are actually 8-pointed, so I tend to not like those because they're not correct. But anyway, I digress. So this one I really enjoyed. I kind of worked this one bottom to top, and it was very easy because the different colors for each area meant that I only had to work with a few colors and then switch them over as I worked my way up. So it wasn't very confetti heavy or anything like that, and really fun. So I get to move on to another one, and it'll be from the new set. So that's my plan for next month, is to, or this month, because we're already a third of the way through, is to work on one of the new sets. So that's that one. And then you kind of already saw this. I did the Pretty Little Gem video and was quite impressed. I've made a couple orders now. I have a second large canvas from them. I see a drill here there we go. That was not fully in, but I did make a second purchase of a large one. And then thanks to you all who bought from them using my friends and family code, I had enough money from that. So thank you that I bought a third one that is on the way here. So I can do a double diamond painting unboxing from Pretty Little Gem, showing their full size. But I picked the National Park series because I knew I could compare it to the other minis out there. So here we go. Got another one there. There's a couple of drills here that are trying to, I think one of them has a tab. So here is, I'll zoom close up here so you can see. So this is their interpretation of Arches National Park, and there is some different coloration there in the sky. It's just harder to tell. But here's that one. This is the Diamond Art Club version of Arches. They use a lot more colors, including the AB drills on that. I really like the rendering that Diamond Art Club does on these. And then we have the Paint Gem Mini, which is the smallest of the bunch here. It looks a lot like this one, but they are indeed different. I was kind of wondering if they were copycatting, but they are not. They are definitely a different version. It's of course the same picture. That's kind of the iconic arch for photography from Arches National Park. I have a photo of that because I've been there. So I took that same photo as well. But you can kind of see the different rendering styles just on this one. I really think that if I had to choose, Diamond Art Club rendering, honestly, is the best one, because I think the colors blend a little bit more, and there are more colors that are a little bit closer to each other in the arch, so it looks more natural, and I like kind of the darker colors on this one. I kind of prefer, if I were to look at these two, of course the size means the rendering's going to be different because there are a lot more diamonds on this one than this one, so it's a little bit easier. But I like the way this one's sky has white clouds and blue sky that are a bit more obvious. This one was a bit too subtle with the sky, and I wish the rocks blended more. That really dark brown against that medium brown just doesn't look as natural, whereas even with this small one, I think the colors there make it look more natural. So I think there's probably 3 or 4 colors in this one. Same with this one, 3 or 4 colors. It's just the color choice was a bit more extreme. So they both do have kind of that gray background. And this one, the arch is further back, so there's a lot more space here up front. And this one, the arch is much closer, so you have very little on the front, but definitely very different colors here than the Diamond Art Club. So just wanted you to see, if you're looking for minis, how they compare. They are all different renderings. This one will be bigger, but I think that honestly the Diamond Art Club is the winner on this particular one. So I did get one done. I haven't done more, but I will continue to do that. And I also mentioned in the unboxing, they don't give the names of the parks. That one's pretty obvious. Other ones maybe not so much. So I kind of wish that Pretty Little Gem would give you the listing of what the different parks are. But no trouble with the drills or anything, although I'm sitting here pushing a couple down. And I think that's because they weren't in the first place, but I do have a problem right there that just keeps catching my eye with these 2 drills. I need to look further and see if I picked one up with a tab or something, because they will not quite match up. So I will fix that. That's definitely fixable. But drills were great. Reading the symbols was great. No troubles that I ran into. It's just that I thought that the rendering was a bit harsh there on that rock versus the others. So that's what I got done. But hold on while I get my WIPs, because I think there's a little bit more that I got done in that. So stay tuned. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back with some WIPs. And got a little fuzz on the back of this one. I have a couple of them turned over, especially this one for a reason. This is a Diamond Art Club mystery painting. So I will warn you, spoiler alert, before I show that one, because you may not want to see that one if you're a Diamond Art Club mystery fan and don't want to know what the mystery is. So I have to look up the number on it, I'll tell you, but before I get to that one. So let's start with Coup Deals. So I did the unboxing for Coup Deals, and there was a little bit of a voting on which one to work on, but I think overall it was close, but a lot of people wanted to see the lady with the jewelry here. So here we go. I worked a lot on her. I did a lot of the face, some of the jewelry here, the flowers there, and I didn't get as far as I'd like, but I did at least do some. I will do part of the mushroom as well. That'll be in the September month in review, but I will also, because I know a lot of people wanted to see that one as well, I might do it sooner. We'll see how far I get. Some days I can diamond paint with my thumb, other days I have to cross stitch, and then other days I can't do anything except organize crafts and stuff like that. So hopefully I can get more answers on that. But anyway, here's as far as I got. I think she looks beautiful. The drills were very good, very, very good, actually. Nice round drill one here, and I think that because they are round drills, I think the rendering here of the details of this jewelry came out just fine, because that was part of the worry I had. Let me peel off some of this so you can see. I wasn't real sure that the details on the jewelry would come out. So this is kind of how that area looked like here. But you can see, I think it came out just fine because it's round drills. So you're not completely covering up the colors of the canvas when you do round drills. There's still a little bit showing around it, so I think some of the details there still come through on that. The one thing I'll say that I'm not the happiest with the rendering is the color chosen here for the lightest part of her face, and I will remove those drills and put in a color that I think matches a little bit more. So I think that is the one area where I think they were off a bit. That color, I know they were trying to get light reflecting, maybe like her face was shiny from the light, but I think they just don't match up as well. But I think the rest of the skin tones look really nice. There may be a spot up there in her eyebrow there that I'd like to fix as well. But I will definitely be fixing this because I don't think that color translated really well. I was surprised that for this one, even though it has a turquoise look to it, there are very few turquoise drills in this one. There's a lot of gray through here. There's little highlights of turquoise. I love her eye, but it is kind of dark, but I do love how it rendered on there. I think the eye came out really well. But flower here looks great. It's a flower. They're pretty easy to render, although there was one dark drill there that I thought was a little odd that I'll probably pop out. But it's not too hard to change colors a little bit, so I will pick something different there. I also was worried about the red tone to some of these brown drills, but I think it looks okay there with the shadow. You tell me what you think. So that's the lady so far. So I will continue to work on her. I think it's a success overall. I do like it, and Coup Deals drills are great. And I think that even though this is a 50 by 50, I think it's coming out just fine. So I will continue to work on her. You might see her at the end of the month as a finish, hopefully. So that's that one. This one I also showed. This was my Artdot unboxing here. Look in here. This is called In the Sun. And this was the little girl here with the flowers. And I did this for y'all so you could see the spacing and the colors and everything as part of that initial unboxing. But I said I'd continue it, and so I did. Now I did cheat a little bit on this because I worked on it September 1st. So there is more done than I had at the end of August, but that's because Artdot was sending me that new set much faster than I expected. So I had to scramble a little bit to get more done on this, which was nice because it gave me a couple days to really focus on this one. So I got 2 rows. I laid the papers horizontally. They might fit better vertically because I had a little bit there at the end, but I'll have to try vertically on a row to see how that works. But it's a little weird here because I did part of the middle. But here it is. This is really enjoyable to work. I have to say they did a really good job with the symbols on this, especially for my eyesight. You see the different color backgrounds that they have and the yellows and the whites and all that. I found that I didn't miss any colors as I was working on a section. When you're working on some canvases, it's a little bit easy to miss and you're pulling the color out 2 or 3 times because you missed a spot, and that can be kind of frustrating to some. It depends on the mood. I mean, that's part of mystery kits, is missing and redoing a few colors. So I do like it on mystery kits, but this one I was able to catch all of the colors in each section on the first go around. You can see the sparkle there of the AB drills and the flowers. And so the rendering, it's kind of coloring book style with that outlining and then filling in. And I really enjoyed it because it was very relaxing to me. I love the different color shading on this particular one, the color choices. I think her skin tone is great. It's a little bit blotchy. There's only a couple colors used in her skin, but the style of artwork with the outlining there, because you're probably saying, but that's orange. But it's the style of artwork. Everything has that dark outline and kind of not really Hannah Lynn style, but somewhat similar to that. There are a few artists that do that kind of outlining. There's our little bird in the bird bath. I think he came out really cute.
What's that?
Oh, hold on just a sec. Okay, I'm back. My hubby came in the front door and thought I was talking to him. So anyway, I do like how the bird came out there with the bird bath. So I think that outlining and then coloring in is really fun. There's the plaid skirt there, and then the dark shading of the plaid from the shadow comes through on there, and there are the legs of the little girl pixie dolly. I'm gonna call her a pixie, but that's how it's working so far. I do love the rendering, and the one thing though that may put off several people is the spacing on this one. All of Artdot's spacing is a little bit loose, as I say. So usually loose spacing is going to show up the most in the lightest colors there. So it is a little bit loose. So this is a single placing project. I did use maybe a 3-placer in a few spots because there are some areas here and over here where I had some color blocking. But for the most part, I'm single placing this one. So that way I can aim for the center of that symbol and make sure it doesn't look off, because if you're using a multi-placer you can get weird lines and things in there. So I may use the tool that, let's see, do I have one here? Yes, this tool to help straighten some of those. You just kind of run it across and it'll help you straighten some of those. This may need a little bit of straightening like that when I'm done. And overall though, I'm really happy with it. I think this is probably one of the more enjoyable painting experiences because of the way that the symbols are done. So maybe I can help you see that a little bit. I'll just peel off a couple here and hopefully the glare is not too bad. But you can really tell the contrast there with the blue colors of some of the symbols, the whites, the yellows. It's just really easy, even from a distance and even with my eyes, to tell all the symbols apart. So I do enjoy the experience of diamond painting on this one. It's not the artwork for everybody, but it is very relaxing. I like the color choice on here. I think I've said that already. So overall, a very good experience, but the one thing they could improve is the spacing. Maybe make it just a little bit tighter. But on the good side of that, if you have diamonds that have any issues with sizing or anything, I ran into a few tabs with mostly the lighter colors. They are resin drills. But if you run into a little bit of an issue, that extra spacing means that you can still use those diamonds if you want to, and they will still fit on there. But I know we all have different preferences, and that was one of the issues that a lot of people had with Dreamer Designs was the spacing. I think this is probably similar to the old Dreamer Design spacing. But if you're a single placer, it's great because you can be very accurate and not have any issues with weird lines and stuff. But if you're looking for a hurry, a multi-placer, this is probably not the project for that. But I do enjoy them. I will have to finish this one hopefully by the end of the month, so that I can move on to one of their newer ones. It's almost like half of my diamond painting is becoming Artdot. So I do have to be careful with that, because it is easy as a content creator to fall into the trap of trying to do things that y'all want to see for company reviews versus doing just what I feel like doing. So there is a little bit of a balance there I have to continue to work on. And this is part of that balance. So I'm going to move this out of the way. So this is a mystery kit. This was the next kit I picked that were in my timeout pile, as I call it. These were projects I started a while back and did not finish for one reason or another. So when I finished, I'm trying to go through and take one and pick just one and focus on it for the month and finish it. So that was what Moon Goddess was. This one, I am warning you again, this is a spoiler alert. Let me see if I can turn this one the right way, because this is a mystery kit. So this is Diamond Art Club Mystery Kit number 31. So this is 31. It is Rafael Trujillo, and it is called Nature and Ocean. So if you don't want to see Mystery Kit number 31, you can turn away for a few minutes while I show this one. So I made some pretty good progress on this one, but I started working it a different direction. So I'm going to go ahead, last warning, I'm going to reveal it. This is a big one. It is a 90 by 65, so it's not going to fit all the way here. But beautiful ocean scene here. Love the picture. I love working on this one. The bottom part was probably my favorite because I didn't know the details. I knew it was an ocean image, but I didn't really like stare at the photo or the artwork and memorize all the details. I just saw kind of the overall. So as I was working each section, all these little creatures and everything were popping out that I didn't necessarily know were there, like this little guy and the starfish and even the manatee here. So there were neat little creatures popping out as I worked it. So I'm gonna kind of roll it this way because it is too big. So we got our clownfish, we got an eel buried down in here that was really cute. We got other fish here. I'm not sure even. I thought that was a manta ray, but I'm not so sure. And I'm still not so sure. So we'll have to get to that part. But what I ended up doing was, because most of the ocean was done. So this is the top of our killer whale here. And then it becomes like a background with animals that are on land and some mountains. So I decided to turn it sideways. So I've been working on it sideways like this so that I'm not stuck with just sky at the end. I have enough little interesting things going on throughout here. So I am working it sideways now. So I did come to this point and then started going this way. So I was surprised by the duck here, and he's got some AB drills in his head and then a bird here. So there are still animals to find, which is good. But I do really enjoy working on this one, and I think part of the reason that I didn't finish it and just go straight through is because I'm enjoying it and I almost don't want it to end. However, I have other mystery kits, so I need to push forward, so I am going to do that. But I thought maybe all the fun stuff was done, but once I started working sideways, I realized it's not. So if you're not familiar with the mystery kit, I'll pull off some of this so you can see. This is quite different than the Artdot one that I'm working on because all the symbols are white background, although they do have the word Diamond Art Club through here with some blue background just to try to hide the image a little bit better. But all the symbols are white background. It's kind of easy to miss some, so you're pulling out colors multiple times. I don't mind that, but it does take a little bit longer to work on this kind of canvas. So some days I feel I have the patience to work on this one, and then other days I would prefer something a little bit less labor intensive, I guess. It's not really thinky because there's no real thinking that you need to do. You just put the color on the symbol, but it just takes a little more concentration, maybe I should say. To find all those symbols and everything takes a little bit more concentration. So that's when I kind of switch out and work on the Artdot ones that are just much easier to see all the colors and fewer colors to work with. So this one is 76 colors. There are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 ABs on this one. And you can see all the sparkle. It's definitely sparkly and a lot of fun to work on. So we'll see this one hopefully get more work done. I'm not sure if it'll be a finish with all the other things that I have to do, but we will try so that we can maybe, after finishing 2 of the ones in timeout, I'm going to award myself with a new start. So hopefully you'll see something new and different that I can be working on. But there's how we got so far, and I do love this one. So that is my WIPs. As far as future plans, well, you've kind of seen that with these. So I will work some on this one, maybe have a goal to get the halfway point. That's not unreasonable. I could do that probably in a few days because we're already a third of the way into September. So maybe about the halfway point on this one. Hopefully finish the Artdot one, finish the coup deals, and maybe start something else. We'll see. Oh, I forgot this part. When I was talking about the coup deals one here, our lady. So I'll go ahead and put her in the background so you can see her a little bit further. But when I work on the budget friendlies or the ones that have baggies, I usually just have a pile of baggies. I might try to sort them a little bit in numbers, but I just have a pile of baggies and I'm looking through them all the time trying to find the right ones. Well, because this one had over 40 colors, this one is 48 colors, I decided maybe I needed to try something to organize the baggies. So I went online and found a pattern or a file to 3D print a baggie holder. So that one's full of baggies. It's organized here. It has 42 slots. So I have 1 through 42 in here. I have the last 6 just off to the side, but that's how it works. You got a slot for each baggie here. Now the print didn't finish because I had it running overnight, which is the best way to do 3D printing, and the black ran out before it finished, but I didn't even notice it. So you can see the holes through here. That should be covered just flat. So I decided to print a second one because sometimes I do end up with other colors, and I had this rainbow colored plastic here, so I printed this one and I purposely stopped it. This turned out to be only 57-ish%. I got pretty close there. I got a little bit more, so maybe this was 55%. So I'm glad I stopped it when I did though, because these baggies are kind of full, and the slots here, although they're thick, it's hard to fit some of the baggies in there that have a lot of drills. So if this were taller, then I think it would be even more difficult to stuff the baggies in there. I like them where I can actually see a little bit of the sticker and everything from that. So yeah, you can see me kind of trying to push it down in that hole. So I'm glad I stopped it when I did. I can enlarge the file. If you're not familiar with 3D printing, you put the file into software and you can do various things with it and edit it, rotate it, do all sorts of things. But this is about the max size going this way of my printer. So I can't really enlarge this anymore because it won't fit on my printer bed. Now I could have the library print a file for me, but there would be a charge. So I think this is probably the best happy medium. But I may try to look online and find maybe a little bit different style. Some that you see for sale where they have just like one section in a rectangle that holds one set of bags. But I'd have to print a few of those if I wanted them a little bit bigger, maybe holding fewer slots here. I could do that. So I may play around with some other ideas, but there is my 3D printed bag holder, so I'm all set for budget friendlies there. So I can organize the baggies. It is going much faster by having them in order instead of randomly piled around me. It does go much faster. So I am really enjoying that with the baggies. So there's that. So plans are done. Now let's talk about cross stitch. So let me switch gears here and get some of that for you. All right, let's talk about cross stitch. Now I said this is going to be somewhat more like a WIP parade instead of just what I finished this month. Some of these I've been working on for a couple months, but basically what I do is once a month I fill up a container. It's a pretty big rectangle. I may take a picture and pop it up here, maybe not. But it's a rectangular basket that's pretty big, and I pick ones that I just feel like working on maybe the next month. And then when I decide to cross stitch, I just kind of pull something out, say, yeah, I feel like working on that, put it and start working. Or sometimes, nah, I don't feel like working on this one, and I dig through it. And that way I keep just a subset downstairs that I can focus on a little bit. But I also have other WIPs upstairs, so I'm not going to pull everything out and do a full WIP parade. But I still have a lot down here, and I have worked on a lot. It seems like every day I work on something different, but I do at least have a finish. I've shown this before here, but this is our little Psyduck, and if you're not a Pokemon person, Psyduck is a Pokemon that has constant headaches, which is kind of sad actually. So that's why he's holding his head and looking all confused. He suffers from migraines, so I understand, poor Psyduck. So I think he was really, really cute. This was a Painting Fairy cross stitch. This was a goodie that they gave me for free, and this one had quarter stitches there, so that's along those diagonal lines. All the quarter stitches fell in the question marks here to give that outline there a little more detail for such a small size. So the count on this one, oh, it's very, very faint, can't see it. Oh, I can count. So it was about 55 by 68 maybe, but it's a partial, so there's a lot that's not stitched there. And this was done on 16 count fabric, very nice fabric, and very, very cute, fun little project there. So I did have a finish. But now we're gonna just dig into this container. Oh wait, no, first I'm going to talk about my few big projects that I'm working on. Not all of them will be shown here. I will show 4 of them. So I'm going to just talk about them while I pop pictures up. So the first is my Pokemon Ultimate. You've seen that one several times. I've done some WIP and chats, or at least 1 or 2 with that one, but I didn't make much progress on it the last month, and I will pop it up there. But that one I work on when I have a long stretch of time to do stitching, because I do pull the frame over and I have to pick up the big scroll frame. It's not that hard to do, but it's a little more set up to work on that one than the others because it's so big. So there's my progress. I did do some the previous month. I got some of the tails that I had missed behind a couple of the first Pokemon there, and I started working on the one next to that shark-looking, froggy shark-looking one. It's yellow, so it doesn't show up very well. Oh. So that's the first big one. The second one is, I will pop up the picture of what it's supposed to look like. This is my first ever Painting Fairy cross stitch that I bought. I bought it from Dream Stitch, and this is an Amy Stewart design, and I would buy the chart on Heaven and Earth Designs if I could find it, but I haven't been able to find this chart anywhere. It was a puzzle is the only way I can find this particular picture, but it is so me. So this is an Amy Stewart. This is Painting Fairy. And I started in the bottom corner. I will pop up where I am now, but this one is hard to see because the bottom corner is a giant quartz crystal. And it's a lot of pinks and grays and off-whites and whites to get the shading and the color on that quartz crystal. It's great that the color is like that, but it does take a little while. It's somewhat confetti heavy because of that. So that's why it's taking me longer to work on this one, but it was kind of my focus for a couple days. I'd like to keep that focus continuing into the month and see if I can get some other areas done. Now I could jump around on this one, but it's not on a frame. I work it in hand. I did have a little bit done in the top corner, but it wasn't worth sharing. It was just a little bit, maybe a couple hundred stitches there of just dark green. So I'd like to move on, finish that quartz crystal so I can at least get further into the design where all the colors start coming through. So that is my Amy Stewart one. Here's the back if you want to see how much stitching actually I got done there on that quartz crystal. It just doesn't show up well on the front with all the symbols on stamped cross stitch. So that is that one. Now the third one, big one that I worked on a little bit this month as well, I did put a few threads in that. That is my butterfly. This is my special birthday project. This is KS cross stitch, so it has a really nice fabric like Painting Fairy, and this one is an 11 count, so it's a little bit easier to work on, but I'm down in the water section, so hopefully I got a picture up there of what the final one will look like, or the picture. And now I'm going to pop up what I have done so far on it. I've been starting in the bottom corner as I usually do for the big ones, and I got a lot of the water. This one is also very confetti heavy for that water. All the different blues and the shading to make it look like the sun is sparkling on the water. There's a lot going on there, so it is taking me a little bit longer. I've got parked threads all over the place on this one. I do enjoy it, and the cool thing about this one is I did not realize till I looked back at the book and did some translating. This one has threads for 4 threads. There's my fingers in the camera. 4 threads for 11 count instead of 3. So once I figured that out and did the translate and said, oh, I can do the loop start, then it became even a little bit more enjoyable for me. So I can do a loop start on this one and use 4 threads and still have plenty of threads. But I love the colors on this one. Can't wait till I get to the butterfly in the basket. And there's another person, I wish I caught who it was, but she is working on it as well. So I've seen a little bit more done on this one, which motivates me to keep going on this one. So I do pull it out from time to time. I work a couple of threads and then put it away for the day. So it's in a big bag, of course. It's on this one is mounted on a metal pole so that I can sit in my chair and kind of stretch it across the chair and work on it instead of being folded up and all that. So that is that one. And then the fourth big one I'll show, I actually haven't worked on this one that much. This is one of the ancient Chinese scroll scenes. I have like 3 of those, and they're all in different levels of progress, but I only keep one downstairs at a time. And I've got the boat in the water mostly done on this one. And this one I'm doing the water because there's so much and it's so big. I'm doing the water as half stitch or half cross stitch with double the threads. So that's, I think I actually backed off to 5 instead of 6 threads on that one because it was so thick and hard to pull the needle through in spots. But that one is very enjoyable because it's very simple stitching, so that's really good for a relaxing, like cold, rainy day when you're sitting on the couch. I suspect this one will be good for the winter when I need something across my lap to keep me warm instead of the 100-degree days that we've had where I don't necessarily want something big all over my lap. So I think we'll see more of this one getting progress done in the winter, but I do enjoy working on that. So that's my giant ones. I keep them just kind of stacked in the living room in the back corner behind one of our recliners, except for the Pokemon one, which does sit right there front and center in the coffee table to remind me it's there because of the big frame. I could stand it up and lean it against a wall, but I think it's safer where it is laying flat. So those are my giant ones. So let's move forward here. Let's see, we'll start in this box here, and this was a PR package from Painting Fairy here. This was my first PR package. I've got some of the blended strands because this one does have a lot of blended colors, so if I don't use the full strand, then I will wind it around these little floss holders with the numbers written on there of what the blend is. So here's the picture here. This is roses. I've done a bit of a whip and chat on this one, and I'll show you the progress. I have done some progress since then. This is one where I do have to park the threads, so I do have this, and that's because it is very confetti heavy. You can see some of that there, but here's my progress on that. A lot of different colors through here. So I think this one was parked. I don't always stop every time to put them in here. Sometimes I'll just kind of leave them hanging. But I'm trying to do this one more systematically. As you can see, all these park threads are kind of on the same row here. So I'm just systematically working my way down. So I've got 2 more colors in this square, a couple colors in this square, and then I'll work on the next horizontal row here. I've been kind of leaving these are greens here, different colors, so I'll worry about those and do all those together once I get the bloom done. But this one does take a lot of time because I am working it systematically, and that way I won't miss any ninja stitches or individual colors through there. I kind of check each square, make sure. So not a whole lot of progress on this one. I have worked a little bit on some of the area that's more solid colors, if I can find it here, because there are areas here with a lot of just plain background. I thought I did. Oh, it's buried in there somewhere, but every once in a while, oh, there it is. I could feel it, but I couldn't see it. So yes, I have worked on some of this area, which is a little bit more straightforward if I feel like just kind of stitching easy stuff. But that is the rose so far. Beautiful, beautiful shading on that because of all the different colors. So that is Painting Fairy, and they don't have the name on this one, but this is one of the rose ones. I think it ran about $40 at the time. I'm not sure what the price is right now on that one. Let's see what's next. How about one of the minis? So since I finished the duck, I had to move on to another mini. So this is, I don't have the picture here. There he is. This is a little cat. So he's another freebie I got as a content creator. So this is The Irresistible Temptation, Most of the Needle. Interesting title there, but basically we have a kitty and a mouse, and it looks like they're actually eating sausage. They're fighting with the mouse. So very, very simple stitch here, and haven't gotten too far on it. I think I brought this one with me on the trip, so I've got the yellow hanging here for the next color I was working on. But as you can see there, very, very simple stitch. So that one shouldn't take long to finish. So that is that one. Let's see what else we have over here. Of course, I've shown this one and talked about this one a lot over the last month, did the unboxing. This is one of the 2 butterflies, but I have a problem because they released 7 more. So there are 9 in the set. I only have 2 right now, but it is so tempting to get some of the others because they have a blue and a pink butterfly as well. I bought the brown colors, the autumn colors, and the green one, but so many different colors of butterflies. I really like the blue one, so I think that'll be my next purchase, is one of those to keep the set going. So this is very autumn colored, and this is one of the ones that I'm doing the background as half cross there, or tent stitch as we call it, because that's what it's called in the needlepoint world. But I'm doing the background there in the half cross with thicker threads, and then doing full cross here for the stuff that's in the foreground, which is the leaves here and the butterfly. Maybe that butterfly I'll go ahead and do in full cross, and then the rest I'm doing is half cross in order to get this done a little bit faster. But even then, it's still taking a while. There's the back, because there is a fair amount of confetti, but now that I'm working into the leaf here, I should be able to go a little bit faster through there. And the background really isn't that bad. I mean, it doesn't take that many stitches and half the time by doing the half cross there. So that is a butterfly. I really need to like jump to the middle and start working on the actual butterfly on this one. Maybe that'll motivate me more to work on that one. I'll just put that fully away later. And then we have, this is my bag of littles. Okay, I put my whole bag of littles in there, so I haven't actually worked on these, but I like to always have a little going. So let's see. Then I'll go ahead and show this one. I'm kind of doing them out of order, not by brand, but this is the Stamped Stitch Club, which I think they have their shipping to the US figured out. I think they posted the other day on that. So if you wanted to get one of their nice smaller round ones that are stamped, or one of their larger ones, check them out. They're a lot like Painting Fairy in the sense that you get the cards. I think Painting Fairy actually does the printing for them. So it's the same good quality, the same good Ida cloth, but these are licensed designs. They are licensed by artists. And this was the first one that I got here. This is Reflection. And I really enjoy working on this one, but this month I haven't gotten as far. I'm not sure if I think I showed this one when I did my next unboxing from Stamped Stitch Club, because since I was enjoying it, I went back and made a purchase of the different counts. So that's the Mermaid Cat and the Beltane Butterfly that are all in different counts, so I can try the 11, 16, and 18 count. But here's where we got so far. So in the image here, it's just this up here in the top part of the sky. But the sky is actually very straightforward on this one. But yet it blends really well. This one does have blended colors and everything, but I think it's coming out really well. The one thing I kind of wonder about a little bit, it is Painting Fairy or cotton thread. I'm assuming it's Painting Fairy thread. I actually don't know that for sure, but I believe it is. Because it is the 100% cotton, it doesn't have quite the same coverage that the polyester blend Eco Cotton does, but it's better quality floss. But at a distance here on the camera, I think it looks just fine. But you do see a little bit of the background Ida cloth through there. So if that concerns you, you can always add an extra strand to it, but it doesn't bother me enough. I'm going to leave it as it is and keep going with this one. So Stamped Stitch Club, check them out. Licensed artwork, and they do have the smaller ones now, and they have figured out how to do the tariff charges now for the US. So a lot of companies had to go on pause because the Postal Service didn't have a way, and a lot of the ways that they were using the software that they were using for their storefronts didn't have a way to collect tariffs. So they have since fixed that. So you should be able to purchase from them again. So go check them out. I think they are worth it. Okay, what's next? This one. Okay, this one I have not shown you before. I haven't gotten very far about it with it. This one has maybe a slight disappointment to me. So here is the picture. I didn't expect it to render that great. This is not Painting Fairy. This is Xiaobai, but it is very similar to Painting Fairy, but I'll show you what the difference is on that. So I do have several Xiaobai. I do like them. I like how they do the blends on the cards. There's the picture. It's a nice world map with all sorts of things, but I haven't gotten very far. You can tell by the back here. I've only done some of the blue here in the corner. This was a new start, like in the last week. I got this one from VIP Cross Stitch, so I did place an order for VIP Cross Stitch. It had a couple Xiaobai kits in it, so it did take a little bit longer, about 3 weeks to get to me. So I picked out some Joy Sunday ones as well. Those shipped and got to me like really quick, and then the Xiaobai took a little bit longer because they had to print them. But it is the same symbols and everything as Painting Fairy. This one only shows 64 colors. But I'm not sure how well the map part is going to render on this side. The stitch count is 450 by 304. I think it'll be just fine. But what's bugging me a little bit is the fabric, actually, the Ida cloth. Because I'm spoiled now by Painting Fairy and KS brand Ida cloth that they use. They use a little bit better quality Ida cloth. So that is one of the differences that I've noticed with Xiaobai. It's decent, it's still doable, but it's a little bit more like paper. It's a little bit crunchier, a little bit starched more, but also a little bit thinner. So it's just not quite the same smooth work on the stitching part of it. So I didn't get very far. I'm hoping to keep going on this one, but this one, because I really like the picture, this one may wait a little bit. We'll see. I've got so much going on here, but I'll leave it for this month sitting in the basket and see if I run into the mood to work on that. But I really love the picture there. It's just the fabric is a little bit rough. So that is that one. Are you still with me here? Got another new start. This is the other Xiaobai image that I bought, and I had to get this one. It's a rainstorm. How could I not? There's lightning in it. So for the weather geek, I had to get this one. And this one isn't too big. So the chart all fits on one page. And with Xiaobai, they put the blends on the cards. So you just go to number 55 on here. And you see that it has 2 different colors there. So that's one of the things I do like. They do use a lot of blends in theirs, but they give you a spot on the card and put them together for you. So this one only has 55 colors here, and it's a little one. It's not too big, so it's easy to hold in my hand and work on. And it's a really easy stitch because you can see kind of the shading from top to bottom there with the sky and the rain there. So this one has been a fun one to work on. It is that same kind of crunchy fabric, but because it's smaller and easier to hold in my hands, I guess it hasn't bothered me as much as that big one. So here's a close-up again of the picture. Can't wait to get to the lightning, but love the image. Beautiful for a weather geek, but it feels a little bit more snack size. I'd call that a medium one there. So you can tell so far that most of these are the more premium stamp cross stitches that I work on these days. I've talked about trying to figure out how to maybe downsize some of my early collection because really I like the quality of these better ones. What's next? Okay, here's one that I work on when my thumb is sore. When I'm having trouble with my hand, this is a good one to work on. This is a Mona Lisa brand, and it's one of the smaller like sections of one of their big panoramas. So this isn't the one. Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, there are the two buildings. They're just kind of hidden back there. I'm like, where are the buildings on it? So there are two little buildings in the background. But this is a more snack size, relatively speaking, because it's 9 count. So even though it looks kind of big, it's 9 count. That's a little bit bigger spacing than even a diamond painting. So it's 75 by 75 centimeters, but the stitch count is not that big. So I have the floss here on floss drops. I've got 2 of them to fit all the colors. So Mona Lisa doesn't come with the good cards. They're usually on cardboard and they're not very good on the floss cards. So I transferred everything here to floss drops here. And let's see the progress. So I did use this one for a stitch and chat when I was talking about boundaries. I did some of the leaves. So I've moved in here. Most of this flower is done and the leaves actually go all the way to there. Let me show you on the back. There, so this is 4 strands for the 9 count, but it's kind of coloring book style, as I call it, where you have sections of color, not confetti or anything like that. So it is hand rendered. Does it have the stitch count on here? 220 by a little over 220. So yeah, 223 by 223. It's a square. But I did run into one of the issues with Mona Lisa that I can show you on this one. You see the colors on this? I actually took a bunch of stitches out, like about this section downward of this flower, because I thought I had messed up. And it turns out I did not. So I pulled out a bunch of stitches, took probably an hour to do that, only to find out I probably should have left them. Because I'll show you what happened. As I was working on this green symbol through here, the green dot on against the yellow, is color 930, which is a dark blue. And I thought, wait a minute, I've been doing pink and light purple. Why would I suddenly do a dark blue? So I looked at the picture and look, the flower is actually supposed to be blue. So the 930 would have been the darkest shade there of the blue, but because they don't have as many colors, it's actually a bit off in how that blue flower was rendered in the design. Really kind of strange. So what I ended up doing, I didn't want the dark blue, so I picked 931 there, a slightly lighter shade here. It's that color of blue instead of the dark one, because I thought it might blend better with those purples. But that's definitely not a blue flower. So I kind of wonder about how some of the rest of this is going to go with the colors of the imagery, which looks so rainbowy, versus the colors that are going to come out. I think this flower is fine. There's lots of pink there. So I have done that much, but the bright orange in the middle also doesn't, I mean, the original is that way. So it does kind of make sense, but the blending, because there are fewer colors, doesn't work very well. So that was that one. I'm going to keep working on it though, because I do like the 9 count. It's just really simple stitching. So that is my current Mona Lisa. So I do try to pick certain styles and just have 1 or 2 of them in my box of each style, and then switch them out after a couple months. So let's talk Wadabiz here. So Wadabiz is a Canadian company that does the same cross-stitch printing. I believe it's Painting Fairy again that does the printing for them. But Louise at Wadabiz, it's a one-person company. She makes AI art images and then creates a cross stitches from them. So this was my kind of sample to see how the company works. I'm not an affiliate or anything. I paid full price, regular customer on Wadabiz, but she's doing a stitch along that starts September 15th, and I have another box from her that I need to show before the 15th because my stitch along is in there. So we're doing a color by color stitch along. She had maybe a dozen images for us to choose from that had 50 colors in them, and each week she's gonna do a pick of a random number 1 to 50 of what color we're going to work on for the week, and you just do that color. And if you don't finish that color by the end of the week, that's okay. You just wait and move on to the next color. And then if you only have a little bit of one of your colors, then you go ahead and go back and work on some of the other colors that were already called in the past that maybe you didn't finish. But anyway, that's the stitch along. I'll do the unboxing hopefully in the next few days on that one because time is running out. So this is the first one though that I bought. I asked for a max color on this one. So this is a 40 by 80 on 14 count with 130 colors. So there are lots of blends. It's a lot more complicated than the stitch along ones and the regular ones with only 50 colors. So on Louise's, she prints 2 of the key, so you can cut one off, and it makes it easier to see actually how that symbol is printed on the fabric. So I keep this beside me while I'm stitching because with that many colors there's a lot of symbols. But this is better quality Ida cloth, that's why I think, and it's got the hard cards here and it's cotton thread. But I've gotten pretty far on this one because I'm kind of curious. Here's again the design. We're looking at this corner here with the blue, and we're starting to get into these buildings in the background. That's what this is, and over here. So they're kind of background, but we also have in the foreground the lady, of course, and the hummingbird, and I wanted to see all the colors come through in her hair. So I did also work on her head here. I'm trying to get into those colors, but it is very confetti heavy just about everywhere. So this one does have threads parked. I've been parking on this one, but I've been going after 2 different areas. So I kind of want to see the jewel through here. I'll probably do that. But because I'm going to be working on the stitch along, that's going to take over a lot of that. But I do like, this is a nice thick Ida cloth. You don't have to worry about licensing issues, but if you're not a fan of AI art, you may not like that. But if you're not worried about AI art, she's branching out. A lot of her early stuff were ladies and fairies, but she's branching out to landscapes and ocean scenes, and that's kind of what I picked for the batch that I bought for the stitch along, because I do prefer more landscapey things. So that is what it is. So we'll talk more about that when I get to the unboxing, hopefully before the 15th. So I can be ready to start the stitch along. And she has a very active Facebook group. So if you have any questions, you can check that out. She does auctions of images so that you're the only one that has a particular image. So that is my what-a-biz. Okay, what's next here? I'm just grabbing from the top. Okay, this is my counted cross stitch, and I will warn you, I didn't work on counted cross stitch this month, but I did a lot last month. So since this is a 2-month thing, I will continue here. These are my Painting Fairy floss that I'm using for this counted cross stitch, but I haven't fully wound all of them, but I'm getting pretty close. So some days I feel like winding a little bit. I'm most of the way there. But this is Amphoryte Queen, Goddess of the Sea from Bella Filipina. So there's the image, really, really beautiful. And this one has a lot of beads and specialty threads and all that good stuff. So, and it's on a big piece of fabric here. So this is counted. This is fabric that I bought from 123 Stitch. I have made a little progress. It goes this way. Not a lot, but we do actually have several shades of skin color in this. And this one you're going to see in my partial stitch tutorial, because there is a lot of partial stitching going on here. See those tiny stitches? Those are petite stitches. So if you get a Painting Fairy design or counted design that has petite stitches, basically you're breaking the square into 4. So this 4 here has been broken in half, and half of this is a skin color and the other half will be another color. there. So that is petite stitches on linen, and the way I'm doing this, I'm doing 2/2 full cross, as they say in the stitch world. So that is 2 strands over 2 threads to create that square, and that way, by doing it on linen, it's a little bit easier to do those partial stitches and tiny stitches. So this one has a blend of petite stitches as well as quarter stitches with a lot of back stitch. So I've gotten basically the skin up to her little, well, her boobies, her her bathing suit there, and then part of this staff. So that'll be, the next part is getting up into the colors here. I'm looking forward to that. And let's see, so I have kitted up on the floss drops that I printed with my 3D printer here, which, by the way, Painting Fairy does sell floss drops now. I think they have this style as well as another style that I've shown that they put in one of my PR packages, but I like the ones that hold the DMC number so that you can keep track of what number is what. So that is my kitted up floss, but I've also been using these because I do have some watercolors or wildflowers, whatever it's called. This is silk thread. So I do have some silk threads with this one. So I did wind them into these and hold them so I could write the color name on them. So, and then of course we have our beads and fancy flosses. I'm really excited to start getting into that. So I didn't really want to do much counted this past month, but it ebbs and flows. It'll come back, and really happy with how the floss is working on that. So I need to keep going there on that one. So that again is my Bella Filipina Amphoryte. And I got the pattern on 1, 2, 3 stitch, as well as the beads. And the floss is from Painting Fairy. Oop. Plum is trying to jump out at me, so that needs a big bag, because there's a lot going on in there. So that's that one. Okay, what's next? How about our cute little pig? This is one of the Painting Fairies that came with a frame, and I wanted to get him done so I could test out the frame and come up with a video for you guys on finishing cross stitches. So he's actually pretty far along. There, you can see he's getting mostly done. He'll be done for next month because he is cute and easy and fun. I love the flowers there, and I've almost been switching to color by color on this one, so I feel like I'm getting somewhere with it because I got all of the greens and yellows done. I've got that symbol completely done. This one did have some quarter stitches right there in the nose to give a little detail. So one half of the diagonal of that stitch is the pink, the other half is the black color there, and then I'm going to back stitch, put a line in between them to separate them, so it'll just give a little bit more detail in the nose. So there's quarter stitches on Ida cloth. It can be done. So he's coming along nicely, not too many colors, nice little stitch. So you'll see him again soon, hopefully. I can frame him with you. And I did buy another one of those animals. It's on the way. Okay, this one you haven't seen before. I got this one mostly for my kiddo. This is a Painting Fairy. I didn't wait to do an unboxing with you. I just jumped into it. So this is kind of your unboxing of this one. So we got a cute jellyfish here. This is another smaller one. But what I decided to do, because the color by color stitch along was coming up, I wanted to practice some of it. So this one has 43. There might be a few on the next page here. Let's see. This one has 56 colors. But it's a medium size. It came with the hard plastic here, and it does have some half stitches, some French knots, a lot of different colors of back stitches because it is a smaller design. That'll help bring the details out. But there are a lot of blends on this one. So what I'm doing is using a random number generator from 1 to 56. and I'm letting the number generator tell me what color to do next. And with this one, because it's smaller, I can finish a few colors in a day. So that's the check marks actually on here. These are the colors that I have already completed. So I've completed 5. I'm on my 6th color, but lots of purples and blues in this one. So let's see what it looks like. So it is kind of hard to tell the progress on this one because the colors are all scattered around in little bits and pieces, and some of the colors kind of match the printing as well. So it's easier to see what I've actually done by looking on the back there. So you can see several of the blues I finished and some of the peach there. But one of those dark blues, there's actually 2 different colors of dark blue in there. They're just somewhat similar for blending. But I've gotten that color done. I'm currently on one of the dark blue colors here, this symbol right here. So I got that done going down this side, but I still have a fair amount of that to do. Haven't gotten to any colors of the jellyfish yet. But this has been kind of fun to practice that color by color because it's a little bit more practice on stretching across small areas, starting and stopping small areas, getting those ninja stitches done instead of waiting on them, just a little bit of that color in various spots. So normally when I work a solid area going diagonally down, I have other threads to anchor into, but by doing it this way, you really don't. But I've been anchoring into the back of the Ida cloth in various places. And that was a pretty long stretch. I'm just taking a risk at times doing some pretty long stretches there. But here's an example where I thought that it would go too long. So I anchored right there under some of the threads, not all the way through the front, but just some of the vertical threads there under one of the stitches so that it's actually 2 shorter strands there instead of one really long one. Other times I was kind of lazy. That's probably the longest that I've done, but I only do that when when the other areas between here and there aren't stitched, because I'm going to work over that with stitches and it'll help hold it more secure. Here's another one where I anchored into the Ida cloth there. So a little bit different technique doing the color by color, but that is our octopus. Let's see, okay, we'll do a Joy Sunday because I do still work on them. This was a PR package from, I believe, GBFKE. And I picked a diamond painting and then a small cross stitch here. And this was really cute. The autumn jar. I wish there were the rest of the seasons. I went looking a little bit and didn't find them. So maybe they'll show up. But Joy Sunday paper card here. This is the Ecology cotton floss, the cotton blend. It can get a little fuzzy over time. And the printing on these, some of the symbols, there's actually 2 different of these dark colors here, this color and this color, which for my eyes makes it really hard to tell them apart. They were actually right next to each other here. So I had to use the chart a little bit to help me out. But this one, I've gotten most of the jar done. There is some backstitch on this to make the details come out. So the leaf and there's a lot of French knots here in the mushrooms. And the leaves there. So there will be some backstitch to help it come out more clearly. But just a cute little stitch so I can just hold it in my hand. That's why I've gotten so far on it. Real simple stitch there. So that's that one. What else is worth showing? That one's not even worth showing. I barely started that one in the car on a trip, so I'm not even gonna show that one. Okay, how about this one? That looks like a lot of stitching. This is one of my early stamp cross stitch ones that I got, so I do keep this one around a lot. I work on it. I did some threads on this one. It is an enjoyable stitch. It has this oatmeal colored fabric here, and we are getting further along. It is the Ecology floss because this is an 11 count. But here we go. I've gotten a lot of the stitching done. I just have to finish the bouquet. This one actually doesn't have very many colors here. Oop, the bird just hit the window. So this is the full cross list with single colors, not very long there, 10 colors. And then we have a full cross there, or that's a half cross with a single color. But here we have blends. These are half cross of that blend, and these are full cross of the blends here. So there are a lot of blended colors. So not a lot of total colors in this one, but it is a little bit more confetti in the flowers, but I am getting there, and I do enjoy working on this one. The one catch with this one is because it's 11 count, supposed to be 3 threads. Well, because there are so many blends, I'm doing 4 so that I can do the loop start. So it's very thick, which I like. It is very tapestry-like. See how thick those are? You can't see much. You can see maybe little hints of the printing on the back, but it is very thick, and I love how it feels. I think this will be made up into a pillow when it is done, especially since it's a kind of a perfect square. But it is a partial. Don't have to do the backgrounds there, but I do enjoy working on this one. It's just with those 4 threads that I'm using, it gets a little tight and hard to pull the needle through on some of this, but really nice Ida cloth here. This is actually nice thick Ida cloth, so I've been enjoying that one through the months. I'll just pick it up on a whim and do a couple threads. So here's that one. Let's see, what else can I show in here? Let's go to Counted, because this is one that you haven't seen before. And this is a Counted cross stitch. This is an antique sampler reproduction from Scarlet Letter, one of my favorite reproduction companies to buy from. This is a band sampler here. So I'm trying to get back into some of those. The person here, Elizabeth Payne, 1667. And the pattern goes over several pages, has lots of specialty stitches. But I did go ahead and start this one. It came with the linen, but it's going to look kind of confusing here. Because what I decided to do, normally when I've done a band sampler in the past, I've completely finished one band before I go on to the next. But what I decided to do on this one was lay out parts of each band so that I could choose what I wanted to work on next. I have several options now, so I could count and finish a straight line, but the counting could be off, so I only did about half of that, and then I left it hanging. And I figured I could do the alphabet to not have to worry about counting all these and getting it right. Once I get to the end of the alphabet, I'll know where to end this one without having to count them all. It'll be relative to the last letter of the alphabet there. So I've got some alphabet going. I've got part of this band going, so if I feel like working on that one, which is, let's turn it the right way here, it goes this way. So there's the alphabet across there. I'm working on this band, which is, you know, outline and fill in. It's actually pretty easy. So I did some of that. So if I feel like doing really easy stitching, I can work on that part. And then I worked on this band, which is here. Pretty simple one, so I could go back and do some of that if I wanted to. And then I made sure I worked down to this section because this is solid stitching through there. That is getting into full coverage tight stitching, so it's hard to see there, but I did off-white all the way down to define the bottom of that band, which means that I can start the next one if I want to, but I think this is good enough for now. So the next time I work on this, I will fill in some of that, but I get to choose. Do I feel like doing a letter? Do I feel like filling in? Or do I feel like doing the more complicated design down here? So that's that one. And this one, it came with DMCs. So oh wait, no, this is the silk one. I bought one with DMC and one with silk. So as I'm The silk is in skein, so as I'm working each color, I'm putting them on these floss drops to hold them. So, not a whole lot of colors with these antique samplers. They really didn't have a whole lot of dyes and colors available back then. So, that is that one. I keep saying that is that one. What else have I actually made progress on? This one I really like. This is a KS brand. I love the design, but this is another one with a really good, noticeably good Ida cloth. So this is my nighttime cacti, and KS has these really nice booklets here. This one, a lot of colors though, 112 different colors. Whew, no blends or anything, no backstitch. This is just a full coverage piece, but so many bright colors. But KS comes on the cardboard, but they do have the really nice Ida cloth, the really thick, good brand. So this is a 16 count, and I have made a fair amount of progress there with the blues on it. There we go. But it shows better on the back. And this one isn't very confetti heavy, so you can see in the swirls there, we got a lot of single colors. The background is kind of fun to work. That's why I've been doing some of that. But pretty easy stitch, even though it's got that many colors and might look really complicated, it's really not. So lots of vertical lines, lots of swirls, make sure I'm actually in frame there. So I really like working on this one. And I believe this one came from Dream Stitch, which I do have a PR package from Dream Stitch on the way. Should be here pretty soon. Because I still order, even though Painting Fairy, even though I have discount codes for myself and ways to get the Painting Fairy brand, I still shop at Dream Stitch because they have some of these other really nice brands and really nice designs, and I love their customer service. So that is my cacti. So as you can probably tell already, I just kind of pick things on a whim. Let's see, I don't think I'll show you. There's not enough done on that one. Okay, how about this one? Another little one. I do like the little ones. And I had actually lost this one, so I'm glad I just found it there once I pulled the other stuff out. This is a Van Gogh. I've done this one as a diamond painting from that one was Diamond Art Club, but I've made some pretty good progress on this one. I just have the buildings to do. So I've gotten the sky done on that one. Just have the buildings. So there we go. You can see it, the stitching there. And this one, it probably doesn't look like much. This is going to be a good comparison of before and after backstitch, because a lot of the details in this one are done with backstitch. So I don't think there are any partial stitches on this one. I think it was just backstitch. Yeah, French knots and full stitches. So no partials or diagonal lines or anything. So it is still a very easy stitch. And it's one I can easily hold in hand. So I'm trying to finish several small ones for a video. So my plan is to have maybe 4 or so small ones and show different ways you can finish the cross stitch. So we will rinse them. So I'm trying to get a couple different brands. So that spring brand, the autumn bottle will be one of them, and we'll rinse them, get the ink off, and then finish them in different ways so that you can see what to do once you've got one of these done. So that is one of my littles, and I'm glad I found it because I was looking for it the other day and could not find it. I'll go ahead and show this one. You saw this one earlier this month a couple times. I don't think I've worked on it much since the last time you saw it, but this was a video that I actually did while I was on the trip, the unboxing for this. Well, I guess I should pull it out so you can see it. I can see it, but this is one of the Tarot of the Woodland set. This is actually a set of 9 that they have that they gave a really good discount on. These are Sailor Moon. So this is Jupiter is her name, and I love the astronomy type stuff going on there with the stars and everything, and the gold. So this is the one I was going to enhance with gold and beads. So I do have a few beads on this one. If you missed that other video, then I will show you here. This one again has a really nice fabric, and this is 16 count, so I love how the coverage is going as well there. You can see the really good coverage of the floss and the really nice soft fabric that's so easy to work with. I've actually got the needle sitting there. I must have stopped abruptly on this one, but these are beads that I placed where the little stars go. And the gold, I'm almost there. So I've gotten to the moon here, and I've gotten to some of that gold trim here. So that's what I'm going to work on next. But I love the blending of all the different shades of green on there. So this one does have a lot of blends, and it's going to get pretty confetti heavy as we get into that. So I'm going to have to do some parking and all that stuff. But I do enjoy working on this one. I'm going to try not to poke that needle into my hand as I put this away. But they do have a set of 9 that have different colors, but love the emerald green versus the gold on this one. So that is that one. Whew, this video is going to have a mess at the end. So my owl, today is actually Sunday, so I should be doing a stitch along on my owl. We'll see if we get to it this evening. But this was one that we started last Sunday on a video, if you want to see that. So this is a partial again, and I believe this is 16 count, but it has a lot of colors. So I was showing how I do parking on that one. So yes, this is 16 count, the nice fabric here. We did one of the buds, and I think a little bit into this one, but I went ahead and finished those, and I haven't worked much down the stem here. There's the back. You can see I did stretch across because I'm kind of doing these 2 buds together here because it is confetti heavy. I don't want to just keep stopping and starting. So when I do the colors here in this bud, then I'm going across and parking over on the next one, having everything ready. And then also working down the stem there. So that's what this one is. So it's going along, but it is going along slowly because there are so many colors in there. You can see the confetti. So once we finish this, we'll move into these flowers, I think, next. But this one is an enjoyable stitch. It's just a big time consuming because of all the different color changes on there. So that is that one. A lot of people want to see him, especially getting into the owl. So after I do a little bit of flowers, I might jump to the owl, maybe do some flowers and kind of go back and forth rather than continuing down across one area. But so many beautiful colors in this one. But because it is pretty complicated, it's going to take a while. So we'll have to keep him out so that we can maybe work on him this evening. Are you still with me? Let's see, maybe one more. Nope, didn't work on that one. I won't show it. I did a little bit more on another Joy Sunday here. This is a very portable project. This is my unicorn. There's the back. Love the rainbow colors on this because it's almost as rainbowy or even more so than the different symbols they used on this one. So it's really hard to tell what's stitched and not because there's blue and purple and green and everything in the symbols. But this is actually a pretty enjoyable stitch. Very basic stitching. Nothing fancy going on. No special stitches or anything. Just filling in the blocks of color there. So that is my rainbow unicorn. So that one comes out from time to time just for stitching a little area. And that might be the last. Oh, I should probably show this. So this is another Joy Sunday. This is my first stamp cross stitch, Chinese stamp cross stitch that I ever did as a PR package. And this is it, but I got bogged down because it got a little frustrating. This is an older Joy Sunday, which means the print wasn't that great. And the number of threads here that come with it is a little bit limited. I actually have gotten nearly out of a couple colors. So I'm hoping I have enough to finish. But I do work on this one from time to time. I've done a fair amount here on this one. I finally worked on getting the jar finished. That was kind of my goal this month, was to get the jar finished. I think I just have a little bit of stitching down there, and then I just have to worry about these two oranges, which I've started them as I had a color in my needle that still had some left. I went ahead and stitched a little bit on those, so it's getting there. But this had the oversaturated colors and similar colors on some of the symbols, and some of it was actually starting to wash out a little bit. Don't leave your stamp cross stitch, especially the older brands, in the sun too long, because if you leave them where the sun shines on them, some of the colors will fade, because this is vegetable dyes in order to be able to wash out. So it'll also wash out with the sun in some cases. So it's getting there, but we got finally the jar done, and this one is hard to see the details because it requires backstitch to make those details come out. But the colors are definitely brighter than what the picture shows here, which is pretty pale. But we'll get to the backstitch soon and get this one out of the way so that I can use this project bag for something else. This is one of my first ones I made with vinyl on one side, so I could see what the project was. So I'd like to free that up for something else. And then I've shown this one several times. This is my cactus. I'm continuing to work on the back stitch. The cross stitching is all done on this one. I don't know why I don't just finish this one, but I've gotten most of the back stitching done on this one. I just have some here in the cactus and this side of the pot, and then the middles are a little bit trickier. There's supposed to be a ton of French knots in there, but I think I'm going to use beads. So here's what the final image will look like. So it's this area right here in each one, and there are white little prickle things. They're harder to see as well as the black, so there are two different colors I'm having to use for the little prickly things. Spines, needles. There's the words. So it's getting there. This one, here's the back. So a lot of the stitching here is very faint and pale. So once, I did go ahead and wash this one so you could see the real colors in that one. I've shown that one before, but I should just get that one done. There's really not much left, and that way we can have a finish for next month, right? Anything else to show here? I haven't really worked much on this end for whatever reason. How about one more here? Because this one I did work on this month and got a fair amount there. This is what I got on Amazon. So this is a stamp stitch kit from Amazon. They're a little bit more expensive, but they do come with the folder and everything. This one, the brand is Moohoo, and here's the design. So I kind of wanted to test this one out, but so far most of what I'm stitching here is just background. So I started jumping into the tree, so I have some park stitches here where it gets a little more interesting, but really easy to read. The Ida is a little bit cheaper, thinner. You can kind of see through there. It's not quite the same quality. It's good enough, but it's not quite the same. But this one's been pretty easy to work on. It does have cardboard. Here are the colors. A lot of blues and whites in this one for that mountain scene, but it does come with DMC numbers there instead of the 1 through 50 or whatever. How many colors does this one have? 81 with some blends. But I got this on Amazon, so you can find some of these brands on Amazon, and it's decent. So if you want to try a stamp cross stitch but don't want to wait on it, you can get one of these in just a couple days, and they do have a really nice bag with them. So far I'm happy with that one. Oh boy, that's a big pile. About another counted here. Didn't really work on this one much this month, or last month actually, because I really didn't do any counted this month. This is Fairy of the Wind from Joan Elliott Designs. I got the pattern from 123 Stitch. It is a digital pattern, so I could print it out and do it right away, but I'm using the Painted Fairy dyed Ida cloth. So here is what we got so far. Not much to show there, so we won't dwell on that one, but the cloth is very soft. I think this is 16 count, very easy to work with. But that is Fairy of the Wind. We'll get back to counted hopefully this month. Still with me? Okay. Long Sunday video. Here is my succulent dwarf. So I do have a set of the dwarves. This is Spring brand, and it is I believe 14 count, but I do love my succulents. So since this is 14 count, I believe this is cotton thread, but this one is starting to show signs of getting a little dirty on the edges and stuff, because it's been around for a little while. I worked a lot on the top of his head there, his hat, so all through here, and I've worked on a little bit of the cactus over here, and then where I started here was the bottom, so a fair amount down there. But this one, it's starting to get nice and soft, so it's really easy to work on in hand. So pretty good Ida cloth here with Spring brand. It's not quite the thick stuff of KS and Painting Fairy, but it's close. It's pretty good Ida cloth, and a lot of colors on these. So I do like the dwarf series, so that's him. We'll try to get more done on him. That's what we always say. That's the funny thing about cross stitch WIP parades. It's like, I really want to work on that, and you say that every time. Since this is kind of WIP parade-ish, I'll just show this one. This is my full coverage over one big project. This is an Amy Stewart from Heaven and Earth Designs. This is the museum shelf with the color expansion. So I love all the little pieces of artwork throughout this, and I've gotten into this first one there, the Venus painting there. That is here. So I kind of worked diagonally. I didn't like try to finish everything and move on. I wanted to jump over so I could work on this painting, but it is high confetti. So I'm doing this with one strand of floss. It is full cross over one thread on this 25 count Lugana. So this is Easy Grid Lugana, and that is as far as I got with it. So a lot of parked threads on this one, but I am sort of working in the diagonal, but I really wanted to get to the first painting there, so that's what's going on there. So this one I do have kitted up with all the floss. Some of the other counted ones I just use my master set, but I do have this one kitted up, and I have them in baggies by color number. So like the 200s in one bag and the 400s in another, so that I can find them a little bit quicker. So that one's not worth showing progress, but I will just go ahead and show it because it's in here. This is a petit point or petite point, depending on how you want to pronounce it. This is a Luca S tapestry kit here. I have this in Joy Sunday as well as a cross stitch, but this one is I don't have it on Pattern Keeper or anything like that. This is a mark it as you go, but here's as far as I got. So this is teeny tiny. These are tent stitches or half cross on this really nice fabric. Let me see what that's called, because I bought a piece of it after I discovered it. This is Jobelin, Zweigart Jobelin, 25 count. It's basically like a needlepoint canvas, because this is essentially needlepoint, half cross with 2 threads. So I really like this, but you can't wash it before you're done because it is starched and it'll just become thin fabric and hard to stitch on, so be careful with that. But it is marked every 10 stitches, so I've had a lot of fun with this one. I've been doing not really half cross, I've been doing not tent, it's continental stitching, where you kind of go the long diagonal, so you go in one hole diagonally backwards and then the next hole and backwards, and that makes the back more sturdy there, more filled in. So that is that one. So I do pull that out from time to time because it's needlepoint. It's just really tiny. So that one does require magnifier. I actually have 6X cheaters that I work on some of these fine ones with. That one I didn't really get anywhere on though. And then, let's see. One more little Joy Sunday that's in here. I did put a few strands on this one this month, so I will go ahead and show it. There was a series of these. I only ended up with one of them though. It is the Russian church there, maybe Ukrainian church, not sure. It says Russian teacup. But here is the back, so you can see kind of from this side what I've got done. I've gotten into some of the green there. I did the church, and then I jumped up here to the cup, but a lot of this, you can see it's stitched there, but it's off-white, so hard to see otherwise. But this is a 14 count 108 by 91 and a partial. So that's what I got on that one. So the church there is done, as well as a fair amount into the coffee cup. So that's a fun one to work on. It's just full stitch with a little bit of back stitch. Well, a lot of bit of back stitch, actually, now that I look at it, to make the details of the flowers and everything in the little barns come out. So I think I should probably stop there. The last thing I actually have in here is some Christmas ornaments. These are kind of for my hubby. I got one of them started up here. This is a kit from Letty Stitch, and this is my Christmas tigers, because my hubby likes tigers and I thought they were really cute. So this is done on the plastic here, which makes it a little bit harder to stop and start threads there, and you can't jump too much because it'll show. And you also can't tuck underneath for long stretches. But that one's pretty easy. There is some back stitch on that, but no quarter stitches. You can't do that on plastic. But that's the tiger I'm working on there. Really, really cute. I need to work on that, as we say. So is that enough for you? Plans? I'm not sure I'm going to switch out or empty my bucket right now. I think I'm going to keep all these for the rest of this month, especially since we're third of the way through. And then maybe at the end of September, I'll revisit what's in my rotation, or maybe come up with something that's a little more organized for a rotation. Like I want 100 stitches done on certain projects, or set some goals. We'll see, because otherwise I'll never get anywhere with any of this. But that's what I've got for you today, and we'll see where we go from here. I'll just keep on stitching. But I've also been working on other projects of different crafty types through the month. So I did finish an amigurumi pizza slice. I found the kit at Walmart and stitched it that day, and my kiddo adopted it that evening because he has a crochet basket that I made a while back, and he loves the little stitchy things that I crochet, so he adopted it. I've also been doing a lot of organizing of the sunroom where a lot of my crafty supplies are. So that's what I've been doing on days when my thumb just didn't want to stitch. And so we'll keep going with that as well. And hopefully work on some more goodies and have a little bit more to show you by the end of September. We'll see. So I won't show all these projects at the end of September. I'll only show the ones that I worked on over the next few weeks. So that part should be a little bit faster. It's just, this is kind of WIP parade / progress. And I may just show a couple that I made the most progress on and really do the bigger ones every other month because stitching just takes longer. So if you're still with me, thank you for watching, and I'll be back with other videos. I've got a ton of stuff I'd like to do. It's just finding the time. So I've got some unboxings to do. I have a product review type unboxing that is on its way to me. It's a new company that I have not done before, but it's gonna take a little while, so that'll be a little bit. And I have my Dreamer Designs custom. I feel bad because hopefully you don't mind me chatting while I put some of these away. I haven't shown much Dreamer Designs. It's just the way it's worked out lately. But Dreamer Designs sent me an email saying, so how did your custom go? And it's still sitting in the box. So it came in right before my vacation. So I really need to unbox that with y'all and show, because that's my first ever diamond painting custom that I've ever bought. And it was a really good experience going through the process with them, but I haven't seen the final results other than how big the box is. So we will look at that. I also have my usual stack sitting over there. I did kind of build up a stash before I retired because I knew the money was going to be a bit different and I'd have to get used to budgeting in a different way. That one lost its bag. So I have a stash that I built up before I retired with some Diamond Art Club and Dreamer Designs that I need to unbox, but I'm kind of spreading them out because that's what I have right now. I have not made a new purchase from Dreamer Designs or Diamond Art Club in a few weeks. So they haven't been tempting me enough to break my... It's not really a no buy, but it is a very low buy since I'm not going to be able to fit many more in my spot that I'm storing them. So I'm continuing to try to work through the ones that I have. So many bags. You can tell that container must be big with all these bags fitting in there. It's kind of disorganized right now. So I guess I'll end by asking for a comment. This way I can kind of tell who made it to the end, because probably not very many people did on this one. But which of these particular projects would you like to see me work more on? Because that can help me. I'm gonna have to refold that one. That'll help me decide where my limited time should go, because I've got so much that I want to plan for diamond painting as well. So I should probably do a little bit more focusing, but I leave some of these projects that are closer to being finished in there just in case I want to just spend an afternoon doing a finish. But let me know which ones you like, and I can make my list for next month. It's a little more limited, I think, on what I'm going to try to finish. So I'm going to go try to put this mess away because it is definitely a mess. But thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting my channel, and I'll be back with more.